would like to start today with my warm welcome on the third day of the Bioeconomy Innovation Week. I would like to draw the attention to use the microphone and camera during the presentation. All participants are kindly asked to turn off the microphones and cameras during the presentation. Only the presenter can use them. And I don't want to waste your time. I just would like to give the floor to Ignacio in order to introduce. I'm sorry, I have to admit. Okay. Oh, okay. So Ignacio, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself and give your presentation to the audience.
Good morning, Isman. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Shall I wait 2 minutes just to start at 9 sharp? That's fine.
Exactly.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm testing my presentation, right?
Perfect.
Can you see it?
Exactly.
Perfect. Then
see it.
Right.
So Ignacio, we can start.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ignacio Martin. I work for CIRCE Foundation, a research center located in Spain. I'm the coordinator of Bio. First of all, I would like to congratulate my colleagues from ACI and the other involved partners in organizing the Bioeconomy Innovation Week. Yesterday, I saw the number of messages exchanged, and it was extremely interesting to see the different topics tackled yesterday. Well, it was very interesting the 2 days before. Today is the last day, and is gonna be focused on powerful bio results. Then hopefully everything that is going to be shared with you all is of your interest. Then I will start my my intervention with a brief description of what the powerful bio is, and especially highlighting some results that are not so much developed today, because after me, other presenters, 4 different colleagues from Powerful Bio will introduce different results from different working packages, developing different tools and documents. of course, my introduction will be followed by a description of the Bioeconomy Bioeconomy Strategy Accelerator Toolkit, which I have developed jointly with my colleagues of Draxis in charge of the IT design. Then I have the pleasure to be here with you all today. Then, with no further delay, I will share with you a few slides to frame a bit what Powerful Bio is and what we have been doing over the last 2 years and a half, because I would say, unfortunately, the project is coming to an end by the end of March 2021, meaning in few weeks' time from now. Then, Istvan, can you confirm me that you can see my slides, please?
I see your slide.
Okay, great. Then, first of all, it is really a pity that I cannot see you in person. That's why I was slightly sad of not being in Hungary at the very end of the project that it was planned. But I think that the Bioeconomy Innovation Week has been a very nice adaptation to the current situation. Then it is my pleasure to be here with you. First of all, I would like to start by saying that the first step in the Powerful Bio was to assess the different indicators. We have been talking about indicators over the last days over and over, right? And then when the Powerful Bio started, everything that has been produced was meant to support mainly policy advisors at regional level. I repeat that. Mainly addressing the needs of the policy advisors at regional level in the development of a bioeconomy strategy or update a bioeconomy strategy. Then a policymaker, of course, has to go through all the value chain, starting from the feedstock, coping with the process to transform, to convert this feedstock into another material, bio-based one. And last but not least, what is the final product? Then, as I said, the first step in the Powerful Bio was to try to use the same language, what we understand by bioeconomy, what are the main elements to monitor and measure, and what are, I would say, the main elements to assess on behalf of a policymaker from a region. Then we started thinking what are the main elements to bear in mind. Then the availability and use of resources, the infrastructure and industrial factors, of course, applying to feedstock and process. Of course, research and innovation as a key driver for the bioeconomy transition. What is the market? Who is going to buy whatever we are able to produce? What are the elements to facilitate this transition towards bioeconomy? In my view, bioeconomy by nature is a transition process because it is an endless policy framework due to the speed of this domain. Bioeconomy is moving fast, and definitely we need to be flexible in adapting to new boundary conditions and opportunities. And last but not least, of course, other horizontal elements which are required to keep in mind: the public and institutional support, the funding, and the social and environmental aspects. The latter are becoming more and more prominent in the EU policy framework, but also at national level. Then social and environmental aspects have been very much considered in the Powerful Bio. Well, this is the starting point for anybody interested in setting up a bioeconomy strategy or to update an existing document in the field of bioeconomy. Okay, so far so good. But it is evident that, of course, when we break down each of those elements, we come up with a list of well, different elements to consider, and the picture starts becoming quite complex in the sense that we need again to cover from the feedstock to the final product and market, and then you add new indicators, new elements to monitor, new elements to keep in mind when designing your policy measures. And then this becomes very much populated by a large number of indicators, meaning that at some point of time you start becoming puzzled. And frankly speaking, now I cannot see a thing. Can you? And this is exactly what Powerful Bio is about. How to support the policymakers in regions in the process of setting up a bioeconomy strategy. How to update an existing document in the field of bioeconomy. Bioeconomy, again, by nature implies the interaction with a large number of different stakeholders from different profiles. This is, again, a teamwork. Powerful Bio addresses all the elements that are considered key to facilitate the development of a robust and agreed strategy by a large number of key actors at regional level. Just to summarize the exercise of indicators, we concluded that at least 63 indicators were required to be sure we don't forget anything in the process of analyzing new frameworks in bioeconomy. This is a quite substantial number of elements to assess. What is Powerful Bio? Powerful Bio is composed by a large number of entities, but in practice, I would like to focus on the role of the regions, of course. We are 10 regions participating in the Powerful Bio. I would like to stress that this is slightly different because the project was submitted to a call from the European Commission requesting Central and Eastern European regions focus, meaning that the priority should have given to this geographical area of the EU. Nevertheless, I took the risk of including also other regions not coming only from Central and Eastern European regions. And then we have also regions from Western and Southern Europe. Then in total, we account for 10 regions. And the reason why I decided to include them was because, and I will elaborate further on this, is the fact that I didn't only want that the Central and Eastern European regions learn from the experts, RTOs, academia, and consulting entities participating in the consortium, working with us, and we developing or bringing value to them as much as we could. I wanted also to offer the Powerful Bio as a platform to facilitate the mutual learning from peers. And I think it was a right decision because the Central and Eastern European regions have told me several times that it was very interesting to meet other colleagues from other regions at EU level, that they have been inspired by them, they have used their exercises for internal discussions. Then to sum up, the exchange with Central and Eastern European regions, but also other regions at EU level, apparently, and I'm very glad to say so, has been very much appreciated by Central and Eastern European regions. Then, as I said, we accounted for 10 regions, 5 from Central European regions, starting from a totally different maturity in the field of bioeconomy. Then this also gave us the opportunity to cover a wide range of different challenges and opportunities, different bioeconomy maturities, feedstock available, and priorities already in place. In the 5 regions participating from Central and Eastern European regions, they didn't have, by the time we started the project, a bioeconomy strategy in place. I will come back to this later. While the other 5 regions coming from other geographical areas at EU level had also different elements and very compatible to each other based on their own opportunities and needs. Then this pool of different regions and needs have been, I would say, a key element for the Bio, because one of the elements we have extensively worked out in the Bio is to cooperate in defining the bioeconomy strategy. And what I mean by this is it is broadly accepted that the bioeconomy, I would say, initiative cannot be designed without without a wide range of different actors. Then that was one of the key elements at the very beginning, is to set up and constitute a robust network, a consensus governing structure which could lead the initiative in each region. And this is also something which was mentioned yesterday and the day before in this Bioeconomy Innovation Week. We need to team up with different people. It is very much encouraged to develop a bottom-up approach in the bioeconomy field. Otherwise, once the initiatives are implemented, it's going to be quite difficult if you have not engaged with everyone at an earlier stage. If you want to speed up the process of benefiting from the implemented measures, you need to design those measures in conjunction with the stakeholders that are expected to benefit and co-participate in those initiatives. Then that's why we have extensively worked in the development of the regional bioeconomy hubs. My colleague from DBF said will elaborate further on this, but it is a key point in this regard. Just as an anecdote, the first time that I presented the Bio in a conference in Brussels, one person from the audience coming from one of the Central and Eastern European regions raised his hand and said, well, we cannot develop a bioeconomy strategy in my region because we don't have data of where the available biomass is. And frankly speaking, I disagree. There are so many things we can do in the transition towards bioeconomy that the lack of data cannot stop us. And this is just an example. The process of setting up the regional bioeconomy hubs was quite illustrative, because the regions have enlarged enormously the value chain discussions, the engagement with different stakeholders, the motivation from the political side to be part of the exercise, to gain visibility of how important bioeconomy is for the region, even what bioeconomy means for your region. It is a process, it is a time-consuming exercise, but definitely I would say, in my personal opinion, and also in view to the conclusions from the Bio, I think is the best way to really mobilize the key people to engage and work with in a robust and sustainable way. In the Bio, we have also analyzed different elements that are already in place. This is also something Barna highlighted several times yesterday, among other speakers, is, well, the regions and the policymakers from the regions have the opportunity to take advantage of existing tools, not only Bio, but others that could be very much interesting for the sake of Central and Eastern European regions. That said, in some cases, it is very difficult because you don't know, or we don't know, even I don't know sometimes, how to use a tool. And this is something we have also worked on in the Bio. I will later on explain, because we have analyzed existing tools for free, of course, updated data sources which could really help you in analyzing your regions. And last but not least, of course, we have extensively worked in developing the strategies and the road mapping steps towards analyzing who, when, and what. Then this is, in a nutshell, what Power4Bio has developed in this 2.5 years project. Now I will comment on different elements that are not in today's agenda, but still I think they are extremely interesting for everybody to know as a result of the Power4Bio. In the Power4Bio, we have developed 4 training courses. And when I say 4, is because the Power4Bio has been structured in a way that we understood 4 different bioapplications: biochemicals, food and feed, bioenergy, and bio-based materials. Then the 4 training courses have been structured and have been recorded, inviting experts from these 4 different domains, these 4 different bio applications. Then I strongly encourage everyone to have a look at this and use it, because... Hello? Can you hear?
Exactly, I hear you.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry for that. I encourage everyone to go through this training webinar series that are available in our webpage, but also in the toolkit I will introduce to you in a minute. The training courses have been structured in the same way, so as to facilitate also the understanding.
We can't see your presentation anymore.
Okay.
Just you, but not your presentation.
No.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Then the 4 different bio applications, as I was saying, have been extensively described in the training sessions. Then, as I was saying, I encourage you to have a look at them and use them. The 4 training sessions have been structured in the same way in order to facilitate the dissemination and use of those resources. Then we tackled in the 4 cases, the roadmap, the success cases, the key factors which have made those cases a success. Those cases have been selected in view to the high potential of replicability, and last but not least, the legislation framework has been also underlined. Then, last but not least, before moving on, I would like to say that these training activities have been organized by 4 RTOs of Power4Bio, each of them skilled and experienced in one of those bio applications. But the presenters in those training courses have come also from industry, large industry, but also SMEs. Then it is a very important tool to identify potential interesting initiatives, not only from the academia, but also from the industry. Then I suggest again, highly recommend you to have a look at it to see also what is the state of the art in these 4 bio applications. There's another element that has been developed in the Power4Bio, which is a report in the policy in the field of bioeconomy. It is an overview, but this overview accounts for 243 pages. Right? Then that's why I put it in brackets, because it's a long overview. And with this, I really encourage everyone to download this report. It is massive, the information collected, and most importantly, it is not only the theory of what is going on in the framework in the field of bioeconomy, but many good practices and real examples of policy initiatives are described thoroughly in this report. Then again, I suggest everyone to download it. And this leads me to an important point. Of course, this deliverable, excuse me,
of course, this deliverable it's extremely large. Then we couldn't make this deliverable available in the toolkit, in the Bioeconomy Strategy Accelerator Toolkit as such, because the Bioeconomy Strategy Accelerator Toolkit is not a repository of documents. It is a tool in the sense that we have extracted, selected, and shaped the information developed in the available deliverables. Then you have two things. In the web page, you have the deliverables that are public. Most of them are public. And from each deliverable, we have selected and sum up with few tools, elements, templates that are accommodated in the toolkit to facilitate the use of the resources generated in the Powerful Bio. Then in the toolkit, you will not find out 243 pages. Instead, you will see 2, 3, 4, 5 pages describing the most useful information we have selected on purpose for the Bioeconomy Strategy Accelerator Toolkit. Another element which has been very important for Powerful Bio is, as I said at the beginning, the lessons learned from peers. It was very remarkable, the number of technical visits, in total 10 technical visits, 4 in person and 6 remotely. During those technical visits, the regions have been able to exchange experiences and learn from each other. That's why I pointed out at the beginning the importance of having 10 regions, 5 from Central and Eastern European regions, but other 5 coming from different geographical locations. Last but not least, of course, the Bioeconomy Innovation Week is part of this approach that we have implemented in Powerful Bio, that the policymakers could find solutions, or at least learn from experiences coming from other regions, shared and developed and implemented by peers. Just before moving on, to highlight that in the following presentations, we will hear for other 4 very remarkable results in the agenda, as you might remember. I will give the floor to them later. That's all as an introduction of what Powerful Bio is. And now I have the pleasure to move into the Accelerator Toolkit. Please, Isban, confirm me that you can see my screen and I can move on in this.
Perfect.
Okay. Then I have the pleasure to introduce a methodology I have developed with my colleagues in CIRCE and has been implemented so nicely by Draxis, our IT expert. First of all, as I said, the Bioeconomy Strategy Accelerator Toolkit is not a repository of documents. Instead, what we have implemented is a methodology for mainly policymakers at regional level, covering the whole lifespan of writing down either a new bioeconomy strategy or to update an existing bioeconomy strategy. Then I will take the opportunity to dive into this web page. In my former presentation, I have included the link, but of course it will be circulated later on largely. Well, just to get started, the first question is, what do you want to do, right, as a user? To develop or to update a new bioeconomy strategy. One few clarifications prior to diving into it. You don't need to provide with any information. It is not an interactive toolkit. Second, everything is downloadable, and then you can have access to whatever you want. in the toolkit. Then you can use it later for different purposes. And last but not least, in every step and phase, I will show you in a minute also, it is recommended to use different resources. In total, this toolkit accounts for more than 30 resources. And by resource, I mean guidelines, templates, exercises available for you, good practices, a long list of different and available tools and resources for the users. Maybe one general tip before moving into the toolkit. This toolkit is again designed for policymakers, but there is not a single policymaker able to really cope with all the information expected to be digested and analyzed in the bioeconomy field, of course. And this is also in the NDA of Bio. We accepted and we promoted the cooperation with peers and with stakeholders in each region. Then it is a teamwork in reality. Then let's start by the update one. For instance, then this is the starting point. In both cases is either you want to update or you want to set up a new bioeconomy strategy. You can see this is the methodology that has been implemented. 4 phases. I will not go through every single text. I just wanted to show you how it works, how it functions. But better to understand that everything is interconnected, meaning that the 4 phases have different steps, and every step is interconnected within each phase, but also between phases to facilitate the experience of the user in the toolkit. This is the general framework, and you can again start by having a look at the general structure of the pathway that has been designed for two different potential situations, either to update or to set up a new bioeconomy strategy. Here, again, if I start by the new bioeconomy strategy, you see also a different Gantt chart. As you might have seen, it is populated by a larger number of steps. Of course, it is understood that to set up a new bioeconomy strategy requires more phases, no more phases, because it is structured in the same way, 4 phases, but a larger number of steps if I compare this exercise to update an existing bioeconomy strategy. Then, after this broad introduction, let's get started. You see here the different phases, 4 phases, and what the different steps are illustrated below, exactly as for this general overview of the 2 different pathways. Okay, let's start by the phase 1, for instance. The phase 1 starts from the very beginning, of course. Then it implies the need to assess the regional status in the bioeconomy domain. And then we briefly introduce who should be involved in this phase. And you can see also the different steps in each phase. What it is encouraged to be done in each action. Then you can see the objective, the action, and again, I insist on this, you can get access to different available resources which facilitates the action that is suggested. And then you see here the different elements that are downloadable. If I go to step 2, after the preliminary characterization of the region, it comes the assessment of the bioeconomy status in your region. Then it includes few highlights. from the policy analysis, the technical analysis, and the social and environmental analysis. Those three elements are of instrumental importance when classifying and scanning your regional status in the field of bioeconomy. Again, you have access to different resources which are meant to support you in the process. As you can see, you can download everything and you can see it later. This is, for instance, one resource which guides you through a quick checklist of the different policy frameworks that are very much linked to a bioeconomy that is encouraged to be used in this analysis. Coming back to the toolkit, if I move to step 3, there are other elements that are suggested to complement the analysis of your region, and then this is very important, as I said in my general introduction. One of the things we have accomplished in the POFU Bio is to assess what is out there, what tools and data are available in the EU domain, which could also complement and help you analyzing and supporting your decisions in each region. Then here you can see listed the prioritized and selected tools that are available, that are free of charge, and that are working properly for the sake of this exercise. And then we introduce briefly what each toolkit or tool or source of information is meant for, to facilitate the understanding, and then you can click and get access to the different available resources during your analysis. Those existing resources have been selected in view to different criteria, basically that are updated, the data that they store is updated, that the different tools are available for free, and they are easy to use. They don't require very advanced technicalities in terms of IT requirements, that they are easy to use, they are easy to download. In other words, the list of the tools that we have included, accounting for 9 different tools, are, in our view, the best ones in the process of analyzing and developing a bioeconomy strategy. There are others, but of course there is no perfect recipe for developing and implementing a bioeconomy strategy. We have selected these 9 ones for the analysis, and then we suggest you to use them in the process of characterizing your regions. Last but not least, of course, the SWOT analysis to conclude is part of the process, and then here you can download again, just for illustrative purposes, the tools that we have used in the project. This is very important because when I explained to you before what POFU Bio is, this toolkit, this Bioeconomy Strategy Accelerator Toolkit, is mirroring what we have done with the 10 regions in POFU Bio. In other words, we are replicating in this toolkit exactly the same phases, the same steps, and we have used the same resources with the 10 regions which have participated in the POFU Bio. Then this process has been tested and has been implemented in the 10 regions participating in the POFU Bio. Again, also, in other words, it is a very practical exercise which has been designed in this toolkit. One important point also you will see in the toolkit is the fact that the role of the regions has been extremely important, because if we want this toolkit to be practical, we need to show the practicalities of the regions, the 10 regions from Powerful Bio, which have participated in it. Then we have included in all the phases, in all the 4 phases, both in the new pathway and in the update pathway, real examples from all regions. Because the spirit of this toolkit is not only to bring a theoretical analysis, characterize best practices, but also tips and opinions from the regions. In some cases, those experiences from peers are even more important than very elaborated reports. Then we wanted to combine both the desk research, the experience collected, the characterization of documents, reports, the development of new elements of value, but also experiences and tips from regions. For instance, if you can see, we have included one SWOT analysis, one example of a SWOT analysis from one region of Bio to try to steer your thoughts and hopefully inspire you in every exercise along the pathway. If I move to phase 2, now we are moving into the creation of these regional bioeconomy hubs as a key element in the development of this bioeconomy strategy, but also as a sustainable governance structure for the future, meaning the same structure can be enlarged, can be improved in the future, but it has to be a sustainable and robust structure to maintain the main elements when analyzing the future conditions. Then here you can find also the structure that has been developed and implemented in the Powerful Bio. And last but not least, you can again download the guideline we have used in the Powerful Bio to set up the hubs, as we call them, in the Powerful Bio. And then again, this guideline is meant to support you in the discussions in your region. Again, also, as I highlighted before, you can see experiences from the regions of Powerful Bio, and you can really read through them to understand how other regions have achieved and have met these expectations. It is, as I said, even more important to learn from peers than from academia or consulting sometimes. But this toolkit allows you to do both, to learn from, I would say, the theoretical point of view while analyzing the real cases, but also listening to experiences from other colleagues at EU level. If I move to phase 3, just to explain to you a few things about the resources that are available. Again, the structure, as far as you can see, it is very much the same in all the phases, and this is the case for both pathways, new and update. Then, if I scroll down, you can see in step 1 in phase 3, define the strategy development. And then you are encouraged to use different resources, different elements that have been digested, extracted from the deliverables, as I explained before. But this is also very important. The more you progress, the more you see also kind reminders of previous stages you might have not accomplished. For instance, it is recommended to carry on and to carry out, a SWOT analysis, which is described in phase 1. Then you can move back in the toolkit. Then co-creation vision process is also suggested in phase 2. Then you see, as I briefly tackled before, the phases and steps are interlinked in the toolkit so as to facilitate the experience of using this toolkit. Okay, if I move into one large research, as explained before, for instance, the regional policies, you see here a large number of different elements that are recommended to be used, right? Then from the general introduction of policies, you can see a lot of information, but also an overview of different elements that you can download, as you can see. Brief tips, brief remarks, brief sentences, and those statements don't come from me, don't come from an RTO. Those statements come from other regions, from peers in charge of bioeconomy policies in each region. Then again, this is also an added value to my eyes in this toolkit. Real experiences and tips from the policymakers. But also those tips are combined with thorough descriptions of policy examples in this case, as you can see here. I will not elaborate further on this, you can get access to it later, but everything that is in here written, just to give you in an helicopter view an idea of what it is about, each of the 10 cases described here, you can download later or send it later to whoever you think is the right person to involve in each of the steps. One key element also I would like to touch upon, which is how to develop your own policy examples, how to develop your own financial schemes. In the toolkit, you can get access to templates to facilitate the exchange of information. The elements you are suggested to evaluate, the different key points to keep in mind when discussing with peers, when discussing with the stakeholders. Again, we have used the same documents that you can really use in the Pool for Bio for the 10 regions. If I come back again to the previous step, which is phase 3, and I wanted also to share with you another key element which is going to be largely presented later today, is the repository of different financial instruments. Again, what a financial instrument means in the field of bioeconomy, general elements to consider, and questionnaires to facilitate, again, the internal discussions when setting up your own regional financial instruments. Last but not least, what I wanted to highlight to conclude is that all the steps, as you can see, include different sources of information. Later we will learn from my colleagues from BZN in the field of business models. Again, this is a very useful document to assess on your own the different potential business models to implement or to foster or to support in your region. They will elaborate further on that. And all the different steps takes you through the different elements we suggest you to consider and to evaluate. I will not stop in the catalog because my colleagues from Wageningen Research University will come back to this later extensively. But for instance, you have also biorefinery solutions which could inspire you in the analysis in your region. Here you can see that everything is interlinked with other resources and everything is downloadable. You can use it for different purposes later, and everything is available to be shared with peers or colleagues or whoever you think should be aware of the process. And to conclude, I just wanted to highlight a few things. This tool is meant to support the regions. Any region in Europe, any maturity level in the field of bioeconomy is hopefully expected to be interested in this toolkit, because due to the large number of resources, I do believe that every single region would find interesting and inspiring elements to use now and in the future. Last but not least, you have also the list of all resources at the very beginning, as you can see on the left. Then all the resources are listed and made available. Then this means that you don't need to go through from the start, from the very beginning, phase 1, step 1, up to the end of the phase 4, step 4. Then you can get access to whatever you are looking for at the very beginning in the web page, designed on purpose for that. Then with this, I encourage everyone to have a look at it, and I'm very grateful to answer any potential question from the audience. Thank you for your attention. Is there any questions? Sorry, I'm looking in the chat just in case. Any questions? Not so far.
We have a question, Ignacio.
Yes.
From Oro.
Yes.
A great resource, Ignacio. How did you define the regions? Biogeographically? Well,
this is a fair question. At the beginning of the project, we were considering NUT 1, NUT 2, NUT 3. The purpose of the toolkit and the project in overall is not to streamline what the region or which kind of region could be of interest to it. Not at all. What we have developed in the Pole for Bio is the every resource that you could use in the development of a bioeconomy strategy, regardless of the region, regardless of the size of the region, regardless of the political geographical dimension. The point in here, the added value is not just to define what a region is, but to try to help you in analyzing any kind of region. Did I answer your question, Oro? Okay, thank you.
Hi, Ignacio.
Hi.
It's me, Katerina, from Draxis. I would like once again to congratulate you for this very nice methodology that you have developed and we implemented in this tool. I would like to ask you what are your plans for the future, let's say, for the future of this tool after the Power for Bio end?
The aim of this toolkit is for sure to be used as much as possible, largely. Then this domain, this toolkit is going to be available at least for 5 years in the webpage of Power for Bio. Right? Then by contract in the grant agreement of the project, CIRCE as coordinator is expected to maintain and operate the webpage. then this way we guarantee the access of the toolkit at least for 5 years. In addition to this, if anybody is interested in updating and maintaining the toolkit to enrich it, to use it in the future, it would be absolutely great. One point in this is that the toolkit is designed again not as a storing system. It is not a repository of data. It is adapted and shaped to bring the necessary resources in each of the phases, in each of the steps. Then, if anybody is interested in taking this toolkit over, I encourage this person, entity, individual, or association to be careful in what additional documents could be included and integrated, because the purpose of the toolkit is exactly this, is to facilitate only the information that is relevant in each of the steps. And for this, it requires an analysis, a selection of the information, and in some cases, to reduce the length of the different elements for the sake of the user. Then, to sum up, everybody is able to use it for 5 years, that's for sure. And in case any association, region, or whoever could be interested in taking it over, it is practically doable.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you, Katarina.
And we have another question which was coming from maybe Mary from Bioeconomy project. She asked what was
It was me.
Oh, Mary. Okay, Mary, go ahead.
Well, thank you very much for the very interesting presentation. Because I'm developing the Feedstock project, I looked to your web pages, to different deliverables, because I was interested in the creation in our region. And I realized that in some regions, I believe also in the Czech Republic, they were able to implement the 2 first phases. Maybe this was similar in other Central European countries. So from your experience by developing this project, which phase of the strategy development and implementation was the most difficult? Is there any common issues in the Central Europe that we in our project maybe can take care or be cautious about? Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the presentation.
Well, in my opinion, and maybe the other colleagues from the regions can step in case they want to share their own experience. Again, this is my personal opinion. It is very important to understand that bioeconomy implies a change in the policy framework. And this implies that you need to engage with people who have not been involved in the same analysis before, for instance. And one example, we cannot think of a bioeconomy strategy without being aligned with other policy frameworks like energy, for instance. Then this need to open the discussion to a large number of peers and different units at regional level requires time and, of course, to explain how important bioeconomy could be, not only for the sake of bioeconomy, but also for other policy frameworks which are interconnected. This is one element, a change in the mentality. This is personally one of the points. Second point that I would highlight is, again, bioeconomy. When I look at the Western and Southern European regions participating in the Wolf Bio, I see that the hubs, the governance structure already in place, are quite large, meaning that they are open to different value chains in a very flexible way. What I mean is they are open to listen to different people bringing new ideas instead of limiting the scope of the analysis to business as usual, I would say. And this is something, in my opinion, is slightly lagging behind in the Central and Eastern European regions. It's also a matter of been more open-minded in listening to different options and different value chains, which have not been considered thoroughly so far. And last but not least, I think it is very remarkable the effort of the participants on behalf of the regions in the Pool for Bio, because we are talking about human beings. And this is time consuming to engage with people. This is not for tomorrow. This is not for a year, not at all. And this is a long-term wish, I would say. Then this is something to be understood properly by the community in the field of bioeconomy. We cannot expect great success in 2 years, in 5 years time from now. This is not realistic. And this is also a matter of expectations. That's why I highlight the fact that we need to really digest this change in mentality to facilitate this way of working. It's a long-lasting transition. We need to be flexible, and we need to really be open to listen to different approaches because of the scope of the bioeconomy, which is extremely large. And last but not least, again, we need to monitor and measure the progress. We listened yesterday and the day before how difficult it is to measure the progress and how to monitor that. This is definitely a challenge. That said, it is very encouraged to have a close eyes on, and maybe not only the data that is missing, as I said at the beginning, but what is at hand, because you interact with a lot of people, and the hubs or whatever we name it, they have a lot of knowledge. It's unbelievable how much they know in their own domain. Then this is not neglectable. The interaction with the primary sector, for instance, they have so much information. Maybe it's not collected in a very fancy way, but they know what they need. They know what they would like to do in some cases. Then this open-minded dialogue has to be maintained so as to monitor, follow, and update the scope of the strategies.
Thank you very much for your very explanatory answer. Thank you. I had yesterday a presentation. We are involved, or we are creating the National BioEast Hub in the Czech Republic. So your presentation and your reply is very inspiring for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I see also one comment from Javier Sanchez from the GRC. Yes, of course. I couldn't agree more with you that this is useful. There are many tools that are not mentioned in the toolkit. What I mean by this is that in the toolkit is, I would say, is not the very last and unique tool which stores everything that has to be included. Definitely, by the way, the GRC resource that is mentioned here, of course, in the chat, is included in several resources that are downloadable. Then it is not specifically mentioned as one of the clicks to click on in the phase that you mentioned, but it is included in different resources that are in Word format once you download them. It is then not visible in the page, but it is included as a reference in several documents, of course.
Thank you, Ignacio. And if the audience do not have any question, we have to move forward with the next presenter, who will be one of the VP leader in Power for Bio project. Please, Martin, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm not sure whether I can share my screen already.
You didn't share your screen.
Can you see my screen right now?
Perfectly.
Very good. So good morning. This is a presentation on one of the subtools, we could say, of the Power for Bio project. Ignacio just presented the, say, overall tool, and some other tools will follow later. My name is Martin van de Oever, and this subtool, the catalog of bio-based solutions, is a work of many partners, basically all partners in the Power for Bio project, 10 regions, 4 RTOs, Draxis, who has built the IT system, and some other partners as well. The catalog is an online searchable database with short descriptions and key information of existing bio-based solutions, and you can understand it as technologies for the conversion of feedstock, bio-based feedstock into products. The bio-based feedstock can be side streams or residue streams or say virgin bio-based materials. These solutions are not covered in the catalog, are not exhaustive. They are meant to be inspiring, but they all focus on tested potential for market uptake. So we selected solutions with a rather high TRL level. And because bioeconomy covers basically all sectors, energy, materials, chemicals, food and feed, these are all covered in this catalog. So one of the key aspects or characteristics of bioeconomy is that it is spread over several sectors, and that makes it not more easy. But that's just what we have to deal with and yeah, therefore it's good to have background information about these several sectors. The information is presented in so-called fact sheets. For each solution involved, one fact sheet. The content of these fact sheets is brought forward by the Power for Bio region partners mainly, having interviews with their stakeholders, and then this resulted in key topics, aspects which should be covered preferably in this catalog. And then we have grouped them in 5 themes, as you see them here. For general, you can think about a short summary and contact information of the owner of the technology. Then feedstock characteristics, so type of feedstock, eventually price of material, competitive usage of the feedstock, waste. Also can have different uses. Waste is basically an ancient term. It's all feedstock more and more. Then the technology, a description of the subsequent processes or steps in the solution are shortly described. Capacity, investment costs, as far as we could put a number on that. And then products, name, of course, qualities, eventually, price, size of the market, to see also the size of a single technology or single plant in relation to the market. And then finally, environmental and other impact topics like environmental benefits, but also risks and regulations and standards and job creation. Sometimes we have information, sometimes we do not have all the fields covered, but overall a lot of information is covered here, also collected through personal interviews. So the RTOs, BZN, DBFZ, Virte and Wageningen Research, they contacted the solution owners and well, in several cases found more information and data than can be found online, and they are all combined in a I could say simple fact sheets. So then the goal of the catalog is to provide examples to inspire for you in the region to find most interesting options. And as mentioned, it's not exhaustive. Each one of us has to think for ourselves, what do we have in our region regarding feedstock, regarding infrastructure, regarding product market situations, and then see where are the best options. Basically, in all cases, we will have to collaborate with several parties within the region, maybe even over the region borders, or maybe even abroad to well, for reasons of markets, selling the products, or know-how, or you name it. And also not unimportant is the current situation is not always limiting. I mean, as Ignacio already mentioned, bioeconomy is a long-term vision, a long-term approach, and the future is not limited by the present situation. Then in a few minutes, I will give a short demonstration of the online catalog, which was built by Draxis. You can find the URL here. It is a searchable database. You can search by several fields like feedstock, technology, TRL level, and products. But also words in the summary and the technology description can be searched for. These are the two largest fields in the database. And then also fact sheets of solutions can be exported to PDF. And it works on several types of devices, also smartphones. And we think this is relevant first for policymakers, but also for entrepreneurs in industry, R&D consultants. Each of us has his or her own expertise, responsibility, and a role to play in the bioeconomy. So cooperation is really required, and it's not a matter of copy and paste. It's thinking about what is best and feasible in our region. Maybe it's kind of automatic, but it still needs to be arranged. So that's what Draxis has done. It's really a natural app experience. It runs on basically any device, irrelevant of operating system. It creates an offline repository, so you could search also in the airplane. And then before going to a short demonstration, there is some additional information. We have included a selection of solutions in the online catalog, but we have a long list of more solutions, about 150 solutions, in an annex of one of the public reports, which you can find at the bottom. There is the URL. There you can find report D3.3, where a list of solutions, including a descriptive title with feedstock, technology and products included, the country and a URL, and this document is searchable also using Control F. So there you can find more options, and well, you have to study more than when the solution is in the catalog. Additional to this, another report has been drafted, which further focuses on 12 best practice cases, basically small scale solutions, especially interesting for rural areas, for rural development. This is also a public report, which can also be found at the URL given at the bottom. So this is a general overview, and now I would like to go to let me find it. Here it must be. Yes. So can you confirm you can see the catalog in your screen now?
Yes, Martin.
Perfect, thank you. So this is how the catalog looks when you open. I explained, say, from upper left corner to bottom right corner. So when you're somewhere, you can always go home or back to this starting page by pressing the Power for Bio logo. Then there's a contact form. Then there are some guidelines, and it tells about how the catalog basically works, with a disclaimer, an overview of how the catalog can be used, using multiple criteria searching, how the results are presented, the structure of the fact sheets is explained, finding similar solutions is explained. It operates in any device. The guidelines can be downloaded if liked, and then if I close this screen, I am back in the catalog again. There is a demo video here, so it shows in 2.5 minutes basically how it works. I will tell you in a few more minutes. Once you're experienced with the catalog, you can search by words in the title. That's also interesting. And then when you're ready, you can search by feedstock type, by technology name, TRL level, product name, and also words in the summary or in the technology description. So if I just select agricultural residues, which is quite broad, I have to press search. That's how it works. And then I get a list of solutions which meet the feedstock requirement. And then I can use or select a table view, or I can also select here a grid view. This gives a different kind of overview of the information. I think this is personal, so I work with the table view. And then here you see the title of the solution which meets the selection criterion, the feedstock, technology, TRL, products, an overview. And then here we see, well, we can make hydrogen, bio oil, from wood chips, conversion of organic side streams by black soldier fly, for lipid and protein for feed. So this is a very specific one. And when you think, oh, that's new to me, never heard about this kind of idea, you can click and find all kind of information. And then here you see at the top the title and a summary. If you press the arrow down with show more, there is the complete summary as far as it was not completed here. An example solution, contact information of a company operating this system. And then we have, so this was the general section, short, concise, high density information. And here we have in an arrow format going from left to right, information about the feedstock, which appears down there. And for the technology, the same there. I'll show you in a minute. So for feedstock, for instance, you see there is some price information and what's location of the price, some quality information, if as far as possible. Not always all fields are covered. And then you can see the technology. It shows a short description of how it works, TRL level, capacity, investment in this case. Information is available. What you can do otherwise with it, and also what side products appear and what other input materials are required. The products, prices, type of application. Sometimes there are different types of products, and then they appear when you scroll down. Even when you have an integrated production and kind of biorefinery, then there can be several products. Capacity of the end product is also included here. And then finally, there is some information about environmental aspects. Can be very short. Job creation, not unimportant. Relevant regulations and standards. And also a more detailed analysis of replicability potential has been included. This is not included for all the solutions, but this has been done for these 12 best cases mentioned a few minutes ago. So it presents advantages for rural communities and why in particular these kind of solutions could be interesting. It's about advantages for farmers, about contribution to social impact, job creation, competitiveness of the solution. This is a lot of information. When searching for other related solutions, here are keywords which lead to other solutions which contain the same keyword. So, for instance, we started with agricultural residues. If we focus on food residues, a list of other solutions will be presented, and then here we can go directly to these other solutions. Extraction of native protein from green vegetables. This means I have looked at it. Sometimes there are some cutting residues or from vegetable processing industry, and then proteins can be extracted from that. Production of beer from unsold bread. Well, that's pretty weird, I would say, but well, you can imagine this could be a nice small scale outlet. We can go back. If we are really interested in such a fact sheet and wish to read it afterwards, we can print in PDF format by clicking, and then I can store on my device and keep for later on. I think this is a short overview of the catalog. I'll stop sharing, and there's room for questions, or maybe I keep the window open, and if anyone has a question, please. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Martin, your presentation. So if the audience have any question.
I guess the presentation will be shared afterwards, Istvan, and then everyone can find the links to the catalog and the presentation, right?
All presentation will be uploaded to the Powerful Bio official webpage.
Perfect.
Maybe if I may, Martin, this is Ignacio.
Yes.
Could you please explain how was the collection process? Because it was very interesting how we have interacted with the companies as well as with the regions, right? It is, and to me, this is an added value of the catalog too, is not only our research activity, but how the companies as well as regions have participated somehow in the exercise. Thank you.
Yes. So the regions have participated a lot in defining which aspects of a solution they found most interesting. And you can imagine that sometimes there was a kind of tension between most interesting parameters like OPEX and expected results. Of course, everyone was looking for this, but at the same time, everyone expected that it will be difficult to obtain this kind of information. So that's about the region, but they helped a lot in selecting these aspects which we should cover. And then once we were starting to search for interesting solutions to be included in the catalog, each of us first made a long list of potential candidates, and then we first searched for how much information is already available, scattered over the internet, which we could bring together. Also, before selecting, we evaluated whether we reasonably could expect that we could get in touch with the owner of the solution, meaning do we know them? Have we been in touch with them before? Because some information could be added only by personal contact. That's not often online, and in a fraction of the cases, I don't know the numbers, but we really got additional information also regarding types of funding they received at initial stages, but also investment information, occasionally OPEX information, and details, checking whether we were right with all we composed. So in the end, we checked with them. Each of the solutions which is in the catalog was implicitly or explicitly checked with the solution owners. So we can say all the information is verified. Does this answer your question, Ignacio?
Yes, thank you so much. I meant just to highlight the reliability of the data which is stored, and because of the time invested, it is impressive the number of contacts with the owners, just to validate that everything that is stored in the catalog has been double checked by their own owners, and then this makes this catalog, I would say, very interesting, because it's not only all research activity which is stored here, but it's also the interaction which has facilitated the collection of data. And last but not least, also the role of the regions in sharing with us what they would like to see, right? Because what they think about their needs, it's even the most important thing in this process. How useful those fact sheets could be to them in the future, and that was also part of the criteria that we implemented in gathering the information. Then, thank you very much for the clarification, Martin.
Yeah, thank you too. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would have one question more. My name is Ricardo Vargas from the University of Hohenheim. I'm also working on regional bioeconomy systems. And my question is whether this tool is intended to be updated over time so that it could become something.
We're all coming back, it looks like. I will wait with answering the last question until, well, most of us have been able to return.
Okay, one question was written into the chat. Is the tool indeed to be uploaded over time?
Yeah. My answer is depends. So in fact, it's not foreseen in this project that it will be updated. Of course, if companies included in the catalog, solutions included in the catalog, have slight modifications, development of their technology, etc., and they inform us, we can rather simply update information. So does that answer the question well enough?
I think yes. If no other question from attendees,
I give it back to you, Isvan.
Thank you very much, Martin. I would like to take an opportunity for Nora Hatvani from Swot Institute to present her presentation about the business models behind bio-based good practices. Nora, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, can you see me and hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Thank you for your feedback. I will try to share my presentation now. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we see, but in presentation mode.
Yes. Maybe I will try to share my screen instead of
PowerPoint.
Of slides. Yes, I started the slide presenting mode, but maybe it would be better to share my desktop. I think that's the same. Okay, in this case, I will ask Ákos to share my presentation from his computer, because
okay,
work from my computer.
Okay, we see now the presentation.
So now you can see my presentation and hear me as well.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So welcome everyone to my presentation. I am Nóra Hatvani. I am working for Bajzoltán Nonprofit Ltd. Our organization, as it was mentioned before, our organization was the leader of the work package 4 in the Power for Bio project. This was the work package which was related to business models and financial instruments. Next, please. Firstly, I would like to say a couple of words about the role of business models in our project. It was already mentioned by other presenters before me. The next, please. The Power for Bio project used different type of tools. The aim of this project is, the main objective of this project is to support regions, to support regional bioeconomy developments, and to this end provide different tools for stakeholders in these regions. And actually this third day of this Bioeconomy Innovation Week is about these tools. The overall tool, the BS80 tool, was presented by Ignacio. Martin has just talked about the catalog of bio-based solutions. Now I will present a business modeling tool, and then the overall guidance tool for bioeconomy development in the regions, and also presenting of financial instruments will come in the next two presentations. So in this activity, we described several selected bio-based business cases from the point of view of the business model behind them. And we try to try to pay special attention to solutions which can be deployed in rural areas and at a relatively small scale. And I would like to also mention our personal motivation at BZN for dealing with bio-based business models. This motivation is that the high interest and the positive feedback that we received during this process, and from companies and also other experts dealing with bioeconomy development. And we can say that the importance of this model is highly recognized among these experts, and they can underpin the usefulness and necessity of these models. Next, please. I will present now the business modeling methodology that has been chosen for Power for Bio project. This is the business model canvas, which is a well-known and very widely used business modeling tool framework in not only, of course, not only in bioeconomy, but mainly also for other industries. It is quite simple to use, relatively simple to describe solutions based on this model, and it identifies 9 main building blocks, which can be seen on this figure as well, and it describes business cases based on these 9 elements, these 9 building blocks. We can say that these building blocks cover quite well all the aspects that are relevant for bio-based business models. So we could describe 19 business models selected in the Power for Bio project. These business models and their descriptions are included in a confidential deliverable, so they won't be presented in details. I will get back to this aspect later on. Yes, next slide, please. Now I will briefly present these building blocks for you. It has to be noted that obviously these blocks are not specific to bio-based business models, because this business model framework can be used to any kind of business. So these building blocks are very general characteristics they have, and they are not specific to bio-based businesses. And that's why I will try to when I'm trying to explain to you these building blocks, I will try to present bio-based related examples to explain them. The first building block I would like to present is the value proposition, which is the center, is in the center of the whole business model, and also in the graphical presentation in this template. Value proposition describes all the benefits that a company can offer to its customers. The main company activities, in our case, the bio-based activities, and products, technologies, services belong here. For example, if we have a biogas plant which uses manure and other wastes from food industry, from agriculture, this biogas technology belongs here to the value proposition. It is useful to define also different values behind the concrete activities and technologies. For this example, we can say that producing green energy is a bio-based example for this value definition. The value proposition has to offer solutions to address problems and the needs from the customer's side. For example, our biogas plant can offer a solution for the waste management issues of food industrial company, because they can give us their waste, so their problems regarding these wastes can be solved by our plant. And it is very important to know what makes our solution unique or innovative. As biogas plants are quite common, it's not so easy to define a very innovative or unique feature, but if we say, for example, that we introduce a new pretreatment step in our biogas plant, which increases the bioavailability of the input materials, the feedstocks that will go into the biogas plant after these pretreatment steps. We can say that this is an innovative character, a unique character of our biogas plant. Next slide, please. The so-called internal building blocks of business model canvas are at the left side of the graphical template. These are called internal because they are mostly under direct control of the owner of the value proposition. These are the operational components that make our value proposition a reality. So, as for the bio-based examples, for bio-based industry, it is obviously the most important key resource is the bio-based material. The bio-based feedstock, it valorizes for producing valuable products. And as a consequence, the provider of these bio-based feedstock will be a key partner in the bio-based business model. And taking into account that it is very common in bio-based businesses that the raw material, the feedstock, comes from agriculture. The constant supply, which is very important for the everyday running of the business, the constant supply of these feedstocks can be highly affected by seasonality, because the feedstock are coming from agriculture. And if this seasonality affects the business, then storage facilities, for example, become key resources, and all activities related to storage and the preservance of quality of the stored feedstock become key activity in this model. It is important to mention R&D organizations which are often mentioned among key partners. It is because bio-based industry is a highly innovative and highly innovation intensive and technology intensive sector, so they must be among key partners. When a technology development is focused on the increase of the TRL levels, it happens that items among key activities are about technology steps. I mean, soaking, the proper technology of cutting the raw materials and so on. These steps will be elaborated in detail, but other items which can link technology steps to the other side of the business model canvas, which are the customer related elements, can be much less elaborated. This is an important point. I will come back to this point later on at the conclusion part. Next slide, please. On the right side of our model, there are the external building blocks, the customer-related building blocks, which are external because they are out of direct control of the owner of the value proposition. These building blocks are about how to identify customers, who are the group of customers, how to get them, how to keep them, how to grow their number, how to address their needs after these needs and problems are identified, how to address them. For these external blocks, it is not so easy to have bio-based specific examples because these building blocks are described quite so the description of these building blocks do not differ generally from other industrial sector descriptions, but of course we can identify bio-based specific elements. For example, there is a specific customer segment here who are interested in products produced in the bio-based sector, and they are important because they are willing to pay slightly more for these products, for buying these products, and this can be, of course, this can be very important for the company developing its business. In the case the company decides to target this specific customer segment, these bioeconomic customers, it must include specific key activities which make possible to target this specific customer segment. So, decision made regarding the customer segments has an effect on the slide, please. Sorry, I forgot to add one note to the previous one. Similarly to the internal building blocks, we have the same experience here for these external building blocks. For the technologies where the development of the technologies were focused on the TRL increase. In these cases, these customer-related building blocks are very moderately elaborated because these developments focus on technologies, and they often miss to concentrate, to pay attention to these external building blocks. So it is much less elaborated this side of the business model canvas than the other side, the blocks on the left side. Next slide, please. Next one is the finance related building block, which part is I think the most easy to understand for everyone. We have costs on one side that have to be paid to have our business running, and there are incomes, revenues on the other side, which can be direct revenues generated directly from customer segments, and indirect revenues which are coming not directly from our customer segments, but from stakeholders who are interested our customer segments or our activities, technologies in an indirect way. To mention a specific bio-based example to these building blocks is the specific situation when a company uses its own byproducts or wastes. For example, it has its own crop production, and byproducts of this crop production are utilized in a bio-based process within this company. In this case, there is a indirect revenue here because the waste management costs are eliminated this way. They don't have to pay for an external service to manage these waste, because they use the wastes in their own activity. Next slide, please. Now I will talk about the good examples collected in our collection. As I mentioned before, these examples are described in a confidential deliverable. There is a narrative description about them, and then the business model canvas template filled in for most of them. For most of these 19 good examples selected previously, based on the data collected from public sources, and also from interviews or email conversations made directly with companies. The three good examples that will be presented here are a type of extraction of these bigger bundle of information that is included in the deliverable. Of course, without mentioning company names and without presenting any sensitive data that was provided by these companies. The next slide, please. I mentioned that this is an extracted information, but you can see still a lot of text here. I will not go into detail and will not go through these points one by one, because it will be very long and maybe also boring for some of you. The reason why I still wanted to share all these texts, all this information, is that is to demonstrate the level of detail how these business models were described in a Powerful Bio project. But I would like to highlight one or two details for all three examples I will present. These will be examples within the good examples. which will link to the general introduction to business model canvas. So maybe they will explain more some points in the general introduction. Our first example is about the company which produces feed quality protein meal using black soldier fly larvae. Using black soldier fly larvae to produce protein-rich animal feed is a highly emerging sector all over Europe. I think I may say this because only in Hungary we know 2 small companies who deals with this business. This is an interesting business from the point of view that the end product now at the moment is used only for feed, but it is fully suitable for human consumption. But the legislative environment does not allow at the moment to use this product in human consumption. Next, please. One of the details I would like to highlight here is the feedstock. As this technology produces feed, animal feed, or will produce human food ingredients in the near future, it is extremely important to have strict quality control of the feedstock here. So all activities related to this control and monitoring, continuous monitoring of the quality of the feedstock belong to key activities at the first place. The other thing is I would like to mention, to highlight, is the customer segment, which is well elaborated in the case of this solution. And I think the companies are not too optimistic if they are developing this customer segment towards human consumption and food production. Next, please, because another insect species, Tenebrio molitor, has already been accepted and approved by according to this EU regulation referred here. This is very recent news published in January. So I think the other species like black soldier fly will come in the near future. Next, please. Our second example is producing textile materials based on vegetable oils and the byproduct of the wine producing industry. This business case is interesting for me from the point of view that the Italian company, this is an Italian company, and they were financed originally at the beginning of the road of their business development from an SME phase 2 project from the H2020 framework, which is, I think it's not so common that these phase 2 projects will develop so far like this Italian company did. Next, please. The detail I would like to highlight here is in the value proposition. They apply an innovative, cost-effective and eco-friendly process producing low-impact, cruelty-free biomaterials. You can see that this sentence is full of so-called buzzwords, and based on these details, it can be, this value within the value proposition can be easily linked to the special customer segment I mentioned before, and I called bioeconomic customers. In this case, next please, these are customers who want to buy clothes or bags or accessories made of material that looks like leather, but it is not real leather because it is fancy, or because they are vegans, strict vegans, and they won't buy anything which is not cruelty free. So these type of companies will have to pay special attention to the specific customer group. Next example, please. The third example presents a company, a business model of a company which produces high purity platform chemicals by this hydrothermal carbonization process. These platform chemicals are widely used in the chemical industry, pharmaceutical industry, even in food industry. So companies producing platform chemicals has many opportunities to sell their products in these different type of industrial sectors. I would like to highlight 2 points of this business model. The first is they use fructose at the moment as feedstock. This is a problematic point in this business model, because fructose, which is produced from sugar beet and corn by the feedstock providers, it is a food additive. So this solution can be considered as a food competitive solution, and the company is, of course, the company is aware of this issue. So they will in the future they will focus on how to switch their technologies from fructose to wastes, agricultural wastes, byproducts, and this activity is among their key activities to technology development, which makes possible to become a solution which is not food competitive. Next, please. And the other feature I would like to highlight here is this point in the value proposition, which I cannot read now because okay, thank you. Fostering the industrial transition from petrol-based to bio-based chemistry. This can be an important point when we are talking about indirect revenues, because if there is a rural, let's say there is a rural development plan or a national development plan related to environmental protection or climate change mitigation, and we have a technology here that the results of which can contribute to meet the challenges and the objectives set by these policies, then this contribution can lead to an indirect revenue. So, for example, this company can receive financial support from a regional fund because they have this regional deployment, technology deployment that can contribute to these general objectives. Next slide, please. This is the point which I mentioned when I introduced external and internal building blocks of the business model canvas. From the point of view of the technology developments that are concentrating on TRR increase. I mentioned that in these cases, we experience very often that key activities and key partners are described from the point of view of the technology only, and they lack other elements, other items, for example, business development activities or marketing partners among key partners, which can link the technology to the other side of the business model canvas, to the customer related side. And this customer related side, the three building blocks on this customer related sides are much less developed. And this is because the development are focused on TRL increase. The technology readiness level is widely used for describing the current status of the technology innovation, but because of the exclusive technology focus and lack of other aspects related to the business and the marketing aspects, we can say that even if technology reaches, even if the readiness level is 9, so the technology reached the highest level in this technology readiness level scale, it does not necessarily mean that the technology is ready for market. I would like to share this quote from a report that was made by the official network of national contact points for the European Innovation Council. It says TRL level, as commonly used in H2020, can be used to define if a technology is ready to go to the market or not, but it does not capture properly how ready is the business based on such technology to go to market. I think this sentence shows quite clearly the difference between the two things. And that's why we think that for the objective description of the current state of the technologies, beyond technology readiness and beyond technology perspective, we need for a practical framework which can promote economic viability and takes into account business-related aspects beyond the technology-related aspects. And this practical framework can be established by adjusting our focus on TRLs, which focus has been an exclusive one until now, and adjust it by introducing levels reflecting business or market readiness. Next, please. So for the conclusions, I think we can agree that presenting good practice cases is a very important thing in bioeconomy developments, and these good practice cases have to be presented in a way that all stakeholders should understand them. So and that's why we can say that an easy to understand business model, which meets these criteria I mentioned before, can be a great tool for all the purposes that are essential and required in defining and also in implementing bioeconomy strategies. Namely bringing successful projects or case studies closer to the stakeholders who might know nothing about them, but they are interested, awareness raising in all sectors that are involved in bioeconomy development, supporting bioeconomies in rural areas as bioeconomy in reality happens in rural areas, and involving primary producers for the very same reason as for the previous point. And I have to add here that this tool related to business models is different from the previous two tools presented by Ignacio and Martin, because those two tools are available, are open. They have presented how to use them, how they look like on the related pages on the internet. But this is these business models are included in confidential deliverables, so you can the end users cannot see them. I see two ways. There are two ways these deliverable, these results of Power for Bio can be used for a wide range of end users, for anyone. One is that we have developed a business modeling methodology. Actually, this is a kind of adaptation to business model canvas to bio-based businesses. And this is a totally general description without any company data included. And if I know correctly, this business modeling approach, this business modeling methodology is part of the BSAT presented by Ignacio. And the other way I can see for a practical use of our results is that regions involved in Power for Bio can see the whole content of this deliverable. So they can learn of this deliverable how to develop a business model for any company in their network. So by learning this process, how to develop a business model for a company, they can support and help companies in their network who are interested in bio-based industry. So they, the regional representatives or any expert can use this methodology as a service that can be provided by interested stakeholders in bio-based industry. Next slide, please. I think that's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Nora, to show what have you done in Power for Bio project. Now we have almost used all of time available in your session, but we have 4 minutes to ask question.
I am checking the chat. Yes, thank you. The sharing can be stopped, and I'm looking for the first question that was sent to me. What about competitors offering similar products and services? Are these accounted for in the canvas? Yes, that is. In the business model described in the Power for Bio, I can say that the competitors are not described. Maybe they can, if generally speaking about the business model canvas, I think this aspect can be addressed at the key activities, because the company has to identify its competitors, and this is a key activity, especially in the case where there are many competitors in the sector. it is working in. So it is a key activity, and as all key activities, it can be outsourced. It can be done by the company itself, or it can be outsourced to a subcontractor as well, if it is such important to identify the competitors and manage this issue. But the business models involved in Power for Bio, we did not touch this aspect. Next question. What indicator is used for market or business readiness level? This scale, this business readiness or market readiness scale, is similar to the technology readiness levels. It has 9 levels, but I can say that there is no such an official version yet for these business readiness levels as we have for TRL, because the TRL is very widely used in the EU frameworks. FP7, H2020, and of course Horizon Europe will surely use TRLs. So it is the 9 TRL levels, which originally come from defined by NASA. It is adopted to official EU documents. So everyone means the same, where we are seeing TRL 5 or 6. But these levels are not yet defined for business readiness or market readiness. You can find several approaches if you look for these types of levels. So I can say that there is no indicator, because the scale is the indicator itself.
Thank you, Nora, and thank you for the presentation and your answer to the question. Now I would like to ask Laura Gászló from DBFZ, the VP leader of one of the VP leader in Power for Bio project, who give her speech about the regional bioeconomy strategy which was developed in the Power for Bio project. Laura, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna show my presentation. Just 1 second. I hope you can see my presentation.
Perfectly.
Perfect. Yeah, my name is Laura Garcia. I'm here from DBFZ, which is the German Biomass Research Center, and I would like just to present very briefly the results of Work Package 5, which concentrated on its main part on supporting Central and East European regions in developing the regional bioeconomy strategy. So, I cannot move my slides. Okay, perfect. You might already know after these 3 days of conference, but we have 5 Central and East European regions participating in the project. But here what I would like to highlight is mainly the key and fundamental role of the institutions that were representing those regions, not only for the knowledge and collaborative approach that they took with us in the project to develop this final methodology for strategy development and roadmap as well, but also because of their key support to the specific recommendations and activities that we proposed to them during the project. It is that how we came up to refine this final methodology that was previously presented, now reflected in the Bioregional Strategy Acceleration Toolkit. But how did we arrive to that specific final methodology now available to other European regions? It was a work of the final or of the previous 2 years in Work Package 5, which in which we started with 5 regions that had not yet a regional bioeconomy strategy, and we took a methodological approach with a guideline, a step-by-step approach in this guideline, and also with supplemental tools, and in 3 specific phases. One related to the regional bioeconomy hub establishment for a network or platform of stakeholders. Then we focus in the second section on the stakeholder engagement, which is paramount not only for the strategy development, but also for strategy implementation, and also for the acceptance of specific actions later on the strategy. And later on, we developed the final section of this guideline, concentrated on the strategy and roadmap development. This was done not only with the Central and East European regions, but also with the knowledge and experience of Western and Southern European regions participating in the project. With them, we carry out guided interviews, but also questionnaires. And with all the partners in Power for Bio, we carry out 2 workshops, one mainly concentrated on the establishment of this participatory platform, the regional bioeconomy hubs. Challenges, but also solutions were found on that first workshop. And a second workshop was concentrated on the regional bioeconomy challenges in general. And also solutions were found in that workshop. During this whole 2 years, also the regions had the opportunity to give their feedback, and in doing so, we validated and refined that final methodology, which now this guideline represents the backbone of these phases, mainly phase 2, 3, and 4 of the methodology that you now find on the toolkit. With that in mind, I would like to give a little of what are the new bioeconomy strategies, regional bioeconomy strategies of the participating regions. So this is an overview of where do we found right now the regions at the end of the project. As mentioned before, they started with no regional bioeconomy in place, and as you can see, we already have one region that has finalized until phase 4, that's Lviv in Ukraine, but most of the regions are within phase 3 and phase 4, finalizing their strategy and implementation plan. One thing is to be highlighted here: Southern Grand Plain region is not generating a regional bioeconomy strategy, but they have followed up all the phases from phase 1 to phase 4 into a regional analysis, and contributed with that analysis and recommendations to the national strategy that is undergoing at the moment. Perhaps what is worth to mention here a little more in depth is what represents this phase 3, the development of the bioeconomy strategy, and phase 4 as well in Power for Bio. No? Phase 3 represents for the regions to have developed a specific regional bioeconomy vision with a participatory approach, which was enforced by the regional bioeconomy hubs. And based on this vision, generate for the regions, and based on that analysis of the regional status quo, generate specific priority areas, or identify their focus sectors, and from their own identify what were the pillars of the actions, strategic actions for the next decade or more. And in phase 4, it is mainly to operationalize those priority areas, to identify specific actions within those priority areas. But for that, it also means to analyze their policy framework, not only at regional level, but also to take a multi-governmental approach and identify how the regional strategies and programs relate to the national strategies, to the national goals, and also in the framework of European policy. So it is a lot of work behind. That's precisely why I highlight all this work that the regional representatives have been doing. So I'm going a little quick because there's a lot to speak, because I would like to go a little in detail for each region. Let's start with Lviv region from Ukraine. The partner representing the region was the Ukrainian National Forestry University. For the regional strategy, I'm going to explain first the governance structure that was created there. We can say that the main role was played by the Forest Sector Council, which is the main base for the regional bioeconomy hub established during 2000. So the council was established in 2016, but the bioeconomy hub was established in 2019, and that allowed them to also engage governmental representatives from the regional and national levels, such as the Department of Economics, the Forestry Administration, and they follow up also the recommendations given during the project to take a quadruple helix approach and engage region research institutes, NGOs, and also industries and industry associations. With these stakeholders, they generated SWOT analysis. In particular, they guide their analysis with a situation analysis methodology, which allowed them to generate from this SWOT score problem field analysis, and then prioritize that problem field and that yield their priority areas for the region. This was then continued with the identification of the main components, which just to clarify it here, are stemming from the identification of their focus sectors. They have a very strong forest sector, and then also identify during the course of their situational analysis to include agriculture and food industry. And 4 main components made part in this section of the strategy. First, resource availability, also innovative education and knowledge dissemination, partnership between leaders in the bioeconomy sector and government, and competitiveness of the sector. Just a little description of their priority areas. As mentioned before, on the main components, they are concentrated on the assessment of the potentiality of their raw materials in the region, mainly wood and agro-industry materials, but also on the assessment of what are the availability of waste materials there and in the region, and how to make competitiveness a strong point, how to attract investment in the region, generating as well public-private partnerships, which mainly focus on reinforcement of existing programs, but also generating new programs if they are needed. And also they have concentrated within their priority areas on cooperation activities, knowledge and education activities, and dissemination. Finally, it is to be said that the bioeconomy strategy of Lviv region is the smart specialization strategy. Within the smart specialization strategy, they have in between the competitive economic axiom, 36 projects defined among the 56 projects reflected in that axiom are corresponding to the regional bioeconomy, and also on the clean environment axiom, 33 projects are directed also towards the regional bioeconomy. And already a peek on the left side about the activities that they have already planted in their bioeconomy roadmap. So I'm gonna continue with the next region. For the Masovian region, the Masovian Energy Agency was the representative of the region. they have been designated by the regional administration to carry out this initiative in cooperation with the Masovia Energy Efficiency Cluster, and a steering committee was formed during the year that the Regional Bioeconomy Hub was formed. Actors from policy, research, and academia, and also industry were part of this steering committee, mainly for the sectors of food industry, and also waste, which included waste treatment companies and other partners in relation to municipal waste. The regional analysis was mainly carried out within a workshop with the Regional Bioeconomy Hub, but also supplemented by a SWOT analysis during the task 5.2 on Power for Bio. The main components identified for the Masovia Regional Bioeconomy Strategy, which is also to be highlighted that is the only region generating a standalone strategy. It's very focused on the development of circular bioeconomy, actually, in the region, under principles of sustainable development, also with a big focus on innovation and technologies, and the utilization as well of waste resources, mainly, not only from the municipal waste, sewage sludge, also residues from agro and wood resources, as well as food industry, as we mentioned before. Among the priority areas, mainly an effective management of the resources that have been already identified, the potentiality of resources in the region, but not only an effective management, but also a sustainable management of other resources such as soil and water. Also, the production of high added value products, mainly for wood, medical and biotechnology sectors, and also innovative technologies for specialized chemical products. As well, within the priority areas are the energy sector, which is a strong sector in the region, the contribution to climate policy with CO2 reduction and also biosequestration, to strengthen the scientific cooperation with business, and also in with consideration of the environmental aspects, and also shaping an awareness of pro-environmental and pro-health behavior in consumers. For the Nitra region, which it was represented by the Slovak University of Agriculture, the main structure of governance actually started many years before the beginning of Power for Bio, and the cooperation between several institutions in the regions have paved the way towards what we saw with Nitra region in the project. So at the moment of the beginning of the project, the region of Nitra already counted with a bioeconomy cluster based in Nitra, and a platform for bioeconomy, which was approved by the national government. And this allowed for a good engagement of the national and regional level policy institutions or actors. But as well as in other regions, going towards a quadruple helix approach, the region also included in the formation of the Regional Bioeconomy Hub scientific community, professional associations, clusters such as plastic cluster, bioeconomic cluster, and companies placed in the region. From the SWOT analysis carried out in Nitra, it was identified that cross-sectoral approach to the bioeconomy governance was needed, as well as the involvement of stakeholders from agri-food sector and openness toward innovation. The main components on Nitra's regional bioeconomy strategy stem from their regional bioeconomy vision, which is very related to stimulate the regional ecosystem for the development of the region, also to offer access to actual knowledge and innovation, and also to generate good practices that can be shared with the different platforms that exist not only in Nitra but in Slovakia in regards to bioeconomy. I'm gonna continue since there's many details to tell. Actually, there's a lot more to tell, but I'm trying to do a little summary here. The priority areas in Nitra's strategy as one, mainly innovative, sustainable and competitive economy, also sustainable regional agri-foods complex, environment, ecosystem services and green infrastructure, as well as smart energy, transport and technical infrastructure. There's just something that I would like also to mention for Nitra region, and is their specific focus on entrepreneurship and also on food security of their strategy. And also to be highlighted here, the bioeconomy strategy is embedded among the regional smart specialization strategy and also their development program for the region. So actually within two strategic strategies and programs at the moment. They're finalizing actually during this year the specific roadmap, and soon we'll get news from their finalization of these two documents for the region. Continuing with South Bohemia, the University of South Bohemia was representing this region, and as in other regions as well. All of the regions generated the regional bioeconomy hub, and although in some regions this bioeconomy hub was considered as a stakeholder platform, as a network in which there was cooperation and yeah, the enhancement of discussion about bioeconomy. In South Bohemia, they have legalized this bioeconomy hub, and is now the South Bohemian Association for Bioeconomy, counting with regional experts from agriculture, forest sector, waste management, companies, research institutes, and academia, and also the representatives for the regional smart specialization strategy. Already within the RISE strategy is there are already components included within last year related to the regional bioeconomy and circular economy, and also important for the continuing governance structure is that the South Bohemian Association still seeking for greater support from national government and regional government for the bioeconomy activities. This has, however, not diminished the activities of the region, and they have, based on the analysis that they carry out during the Powerful Bio project, they have been already identifying the key priorities to develop a specific recommendation document in similar as Southern Great Plains region. The focus sectors that they identify within the SWOT analysis and also other workshops, regional workshops with the Regional Bioeconomy Hub, have identified that the strong agriculture sector is the main pillar of their regional bioeconomy, but also other sectors such as agri-food, wood, waste resources, and non-traditional resources such as algae or hemp are also counted within these focus sectors. Finally, there are already in this recommendation document some strategic priorities identified, mainly to sustainable and circular economy, the smart regional cooperation, so related to networking between the key specific actors, landscape and ecosystem services, taking into account the ecosystem services of the region and taking care or controlling that the bioeconomy is really under sustainable parameters, and creating a developing new form of consumption. So awareness as well towards behavioral change of consumers. For the Southern Great Plains region, partner representing the region was Baseltan nonprofit, and the governance structure generated here was based mainly on Baseltan, which initiated from a bottom approach this initiative, but then searching for the cooperation with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Hungarian Chamber of Agriculture, they created the regional bioeconomy hub in 2019 as well. And during that year as well, the Hungarian bioeconomy cluster was created. Now this bioeconomy hub acts through the bioeconomy cluster, and it is contributing part to the bioeconomy cluster activities at the moment. And at national level, since, as I mentioned before, the region is not generating a strategy, but at national, they are contributing to the strategy at national level, which is coordinated by Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Innovation and Technology. The regional analysis, as I mentioned before, was carried out, and from this, it was mainly identified that they have specific strengths on existence of raw materials, infrastructure, and also research and development activities, with specific challenges on logistical infrastructure, as well as in the development or lack of development of high added value products. But with great opportunities on the existing clusters, event organized, the engagement of actors, and unexploited resources of the region. And they have a stretched long administrative periods to procedures related to new technologies, as well as lack of strategy and funding. For the recommendations that were generated based on the analysis of the region, the main components are actually, or the main priorities are actually knowledge sharing and transfer, development and innovation, and rural development. And within those main components, I'm actually going to jump the regional bioeconomy vision. As in other regions, the regional bioeconomy vision, it was the base for the specific actions that they identify within these recommendations, and in a specific Southern Great Plains, identify a mid-term and a long-term to this vision for their regional bioeconomy. And this gave way to these strategic actions that were recommended from the Southern Great Plains region to the national bioeconomy strategy undergoing, which is mainly related to the assessment of the potential of bioeconomy as it is recurrent for other regions, analysis also of existing practices, creation of supporting institutions and support of cluster activities, awareness raising regarding bioeconomic concept, training activities, higher education programs, other activities that might facilitate as well, aspects of innovation, the creation of value chains such as networking, matchmaking event, and cooperation to biomass utilization. And then finally, search for public funding, indicators and monitoring system, creation of standards and certificates that can consolidate more the market assessment of the demand, and so on. I actually didn't include all the strategic actions that they were recommended, but just finalizing, I want to invite everybody. There's much more details in the deliverables, the public deliverables from Work Package 5, deliverable 5.3 relate or tells more in detail the strategies developed in each one of the regions, and the final deliverable that will be public by the end of this month tells also more in detail about the implementation plans in the Central and East European regions. Thank you very much for your attention, and I think we are short on time now.
Thank you, Laura, for your very comprehensive presentation. I turn to the attendees. If you have any question, please feel free to ask from Laura. I checked the chat box. There are no any questions. If not,
good. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Laura. And I would like to give the floor for the last presenter for Francesca Natali from Meta Group, who will be speaking on the role of the financial instruments in empowering the bioeconomy strategies. Francesca, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It is really an honor to be here with you this morning. So I will be the last. I hope not to be the least. And I'm here today to share with you a few thoughts, a few suggestions about financing possibilities that could be used to finance, to support financially the bioeconomy strategy that a number of European regions are implementing nowadays. Let me share my screen with you. I believe that most of you already knows that Meta Group is a Power for Bio partner, and my involvement, my personal involvement into the project with specific reference to financial issue is mainly related to the fact that I've been working for the last 15 years in the management of venture capital funds, which have been set up together with regional managing authorities, using mainly RDF money, meaning money coming from European structural and investment fund. So I'm here to talk about money, which is always a magic ingredient. I mean that money is needed when you want to implement action, strategy and action that could have a good impact on the regional economic development. The good news is that there is money out there. It is key to know where to look and at which door to knock at. Raising money takes time and effort, and even more important, requires competencies, because there are different types of financing sources, and you as a managing authority, as a regional stakeholder, should be aware about the engagement rules you should fulfill if you are keen to achieve the money. It is also very, very important to assess before allocating any money what is needed, why and by whom. it is always, wise to avoid mistake, to learn from mistakes already done. That's why, if you are thinking to implement financial instrument that may support your regional bioeconomy strategy, to look at good practices that are in place, that could be adjusted, that could be copied, that could be used in your regional context. Last but not least, because we are here to discuss about bioeconomy, we are here to discuss about circular economy, I would like also to draw your attention about the fact that today is even more important to think money as a revolving tool, meaning that it is very important to design and to implement financial instruments that are revolving, meaning that the money that is spent can come back to the money provided to be used again and again. I'm not saying that grants, especially for the bioeconomy field, are not necessary, but I invite all the stakeholders to think about money as a revolving tool. So I do not want to go through all those different types of financing source. I'm just showing that, as I said, there is money out there. You should know where to look at. Today, I would like to draw your attention with specific reference to European Structural and Investment Fund, and maybe also to the National Recovery Plan that I believe a number of European countries must design and present to the European Commission. Those financing source, meaning ESIF plus the recovery plans, are an incredible opportunity that the region shouldn't miss, also for implementing bioeconomy strategy. And those financial sources are just in the phase to be launched. So I believe it is the right moment to think on how to use the money that can come from ESIF and through the recovery plan as a great opportunity to be exploited by each region, keen also to design and implement and launch a bioeconomy strategy. I'm mainly referring to the European Structural and Investment Fund because it is money that can come to each region. It is a decision of the managing authority where and how funds are invested. So it is money that can be used at regional or national level. It is up to the managing authority to define objective, results, and types of action that could be delivered through the use of those funds. Of course, we are referring to possible bioeconomy application of those funds. So the most suitable funds that you should look at are the European Agricultural Fund for Rural Development and the European Regional Development Fund. Those ESIF funds can be a very promising and interesting source of money that can be used by the managing authorities at regional level to implement and to finance at the end each regional bioeconomy strategy. There are different types of financial instrument or product that can be shaped. They can be loan, guarantees, equity or quasi-equity financial product. I do not want to go into detail right now about the different type of financial product. I will do later on stressing, which are the main differences between equity and debts, because at the end, we can divide those four different financial products between two main categories: equity and maybe quasi-equity on one side, and loan and guarantees on the other side, representing debts instrument. What is very important, and as I said from the very beginning, is that managing authority, before starting to allocate any money, should assess which are the needs of the final beneficiary. It means that they have to assess in details what is needed, why is needed, and by whom. It means that before using and allocating any money coming from European structural and investment fund, managing authority should make what it is called an ex-ante assessment. An ex-ante assessment, it is a process made by different steps aiming at defining the investment strategy of the financial product that the managing authority is keen to provide to its final beneficiary. We did, through the project, together with the other Power for Bio partner, a simple, I would say, rather than small, financial assessment about the needs of Power for Bio regions. Here in the slide, you may find main results of our assessment. According to our results, that of course cannot be precise and detailed as the results that are expected to achieve through an in-depth ex-ante assessment, we have found few similarities and few points that that lead us to think that there is maybe a need of more equity financial instruments. Why I'm saying that? Because according to our results, we have discovered that there is a need to support new bio-based company to exploit innovative bio-based results coming from research center, coming from labs, coming from knowledge centers. There is so a lack of funding schemes for technology exploitation, for technology transfer, and there is as I will state later on, there is a need of new and innovative type of financing schemes capable to support also innovation and knowledge, bio-based knowledge coming from the region. Because of that, because according to the results and according the type of results that the managing authority are keen to achieve through the bioeconomy strategy, I would like to draw your attention, because it is very crucial, it is a very relevant point, about the two forms of financial instrument that at the end could be delivered to the final beneficiary. So if we look at the two main forms of financing, we may have equity on one end and debts on the other hand. They may have very different results, both in terms of job creation and quality and quantity of companies and type of companies and types of jobs that those two different types of money can achieve. In terms of job creation, equity is money that is provided to support the growth and the scale-up plans of high-risky business. So, as you may guess, if you are implementing an equity financial instrument, you should expect a long-term results. And if it is successful, you may have a big impact in terms of new job created, and also in type of innovative types of jobs that the equity tool may create. If you are thinking to implement a debt financial instrument, of course, the money will be mainly used to finance running costs or working capital of already existing company, or to keep going those companies, or to support the organic growth of those companies. What does it mean? It means that you will support the creation of less job maybe, but in more traditional sector, bearing a lower risk. If we look at the quality and the quantity of company that can be supported allocating the same amount of money into an equity or into a debt financial instrument, what we see? We see that if you are providing equity, it means that only a small number of high growth, high risk company will be supported, because those type of company requires a large amount of money, but at the end they may create, as I said, a large number of innovative jobs, creating a great impact on the regional economic development. If you are putting the same amount of money into a debt instrument, like a loan or a guarantee schemes, you will support a larger number of companies, of course, bearing a lower risk and also a lower return. The types of job that you may create are more in the traditional sector. So, I mean, you shouldn't expect the creation of new and innovative types of job. It is very important to understand all those differences between those two type of companies. And as as a result, I mean, I would like, I mean, to stress the importance to have innovative bio-based company, which seems also a request among the others, of course, coming from our financial assessment among the Power for Bio regions that are implementing the bioeconomy strategy. The need to have knowledge-intensive company, it is mainly related to the fact that they create new jobs, they create a number of new jobs. They are a very relevant driving force for creating jobs, and young SMEs are large net job creation contributors across Europe, with specific reference to new member states. So are an incredible, powerful force to create new job. And those company needs to be set up, not debt money, as I said, but they require also equity money. Very briefly, I would like to stress once again why it's so important to have not, I mean, in general, innovative company, but why it's important to support the creation of bio-based innovative company, and why it is so important to offer to those type of company the right type of money to start, to grow, and to scale. They are, I mean, a driving force for the regional wealth, and there should be a policy and action that will support the creation of those companies, because they will boost the job creation, mainly in rural and underdeveloped areas. They will facilitate the Europe targets to replace at least 30% of its oil-based chemicals and materials with bio-based and biodegradables one by 2030, and they will help to accelerate also the economy recovery. So I would like, I mean, to leave you with the message that those type of companies, knowledge-intensive, bio-based companies, are really crucial for the region, because they can contribute to the creation of new jobs. They can have a really big impact on the economic development of each regional economy. And as I already said, those companies cannot achieve money through banks. They cannot achieve debt, because they cannot provide guarantees, meaning that they are not attractive for debt provider, and they need a different type of money, meaning that they need different type of financial instrument. Equity instruments are the right tool for those type of company. Of course, equity is not the sole, the only type of product that should be delivered to the bio-based company at national or regional level, but equity must be complemented with other different type of financial products, such as loan and guarantees, that are already available in larger quantity. And what I would like also to stress, and if you are thinking to shape an equity financial tool for your company, look at already existing schemes. Do not reinvent the wheel, because there are a number of good practices that could be adjusted to your local framework. I would like, if I have time to do that, just to give you a very fast and simple example about how different ESIF instrument should be designed for different type of region, and that's why it's so important you to deliver before designing any instrument an ex-ante assessment, because through the ex-ante assessment exercise, you may know what is really needed by your final beneficiary. So I would like to finish my speech just presenting, two funds I know quite well, because I've been personally involved in the management of both. Those funds are very different because the managing authority had different type of final beneficiary to satisfied, to support. On one hand, in Sardinia, traditional company. In Emilia-Romagna, the managing authority was really keen to show world-class innovation capacity of the region. That's why in Sardinia we were invited to support traditional company. On the other hand, in Emilia-Romagna we were, let's say, obliged to support new knowledge-intensive company coming from research center, labs, and university. And that's what we did. Here you may find the example of the fund we had in Emilia-Romagna, but I'm really keen to conclude my speech presenting you a concrete results of what is possible to achieve if additional financial instrument, additional meaning equity financial instrument, are available for supporting the creation of new company. Green bond, it's I may say now it's a scale up coming from a small village very close to Bologna. The company is developing a truly innovative bone substitute coming from wood. There is a patent behind, and what is important to know that the company has been set up in 2015 thanks to the money provided by the Regione Emilia-Romagna through the Ingenium Fund using RDF money. Now the company has received more money through additional round of investment. Last one was concluded in 2020. 10 million were committed to the company. Now we are into the clinical phase 2. We are demonstrating that the bonds are really effective. The company is renting a pilot, an industrial site to start to manufacture the bonds, and we believe that a big success could come from green bond, and we expect that a new way of bond substitutes will be spread worldwide. But what is even more important, new jobs, a number of new innovative jobs will be created around Faenza, and last but not least, millions could come back to the pocket of the investors, including the regional investors that have supported green bond since the very beginning, when green bond was only a research project. So I think that my time is really over, and thank you for listening. I'm here for question, curiosity.
Thank you very much, Francesca. I found a question in the chat, which was raised by one of our attendees.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you have any list of equity and combination of instruments for the startup company working on bioplastic using mill waste as a raw material?
So with specific reference to the sector, no, I have to check. Of course, I believe that there are ventures working in a similar market that have been financed by equity investor. What I may say that we, as a Power for Bio project, we have designed, we have a repository of good practice example that could be analyzed, could be, let's say, used by managing authorities, by stakeholders, in order to check if there is the possibility to use the format into different regional context.
Thank you, Francesca. Hope you answered the question. So one comment also arrived in the chat box. It would be great if you could share this information with the participants.
Yes, yes, sure. I mean, I believe that Ignazio could support, you could support me in making, to disclose the repository we have on those financial instruments that, of course, are not only related to equity, but they are also related to loan and guarantee schemes or mixed schemes, because even if my speech was mainly related on the importance to have also equity financing tool, I mean, we have also investigated effective good products coming that could be used for setting up loans or guarantee schemes, because it is not all about equity.
Yes, thank you. I turn to again the attendees. Do they have any question?
Maybe just as a final tips from my side, I mean, there is a new very big equity and quasi-equity bioeconomy fund that has been set up by the European Commission, the European Investment Bank, which is investing into bioeconomy European scale-up. So it is very important if there are such type of company scale-up, so not early stage company that are from the bioeconomy sector and are keen to become even more international. That large fund, I believe that could be a very interesting opportunity.
Thank you, Francesca, and also thank you, Ignazio, that he is very active in chat box and put all of available information. Thank you so much. And any other question, comments? If not, that this time has also come. I would like to thank you everyone for attending the Bioeconomy Innovation Week organized within the Power for Bio project. We hope that the program was interesting and useful for all participants to promote the development of bioeconomy not only but especially in Central and Eastern European countries. Thank you very much again, the presenters, for the very relevant work in the field of bioeconomy. And I just would like to wish have a good weekend for all and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.